Welcome into your Tiny Week Ahead reading. I am T from Tiny Divinations, coming in to break down the cards for our week. So we have three different piles. Pick the pile or piles you are most drawn to, and I will see you in your reading. Welcome in pile one. Let's get into your reading for this week. So, the first card you have is self care. And what I asked was what you needed to focus on the most this week. So, self care isn't just about baths or face masks or like spa treatments or beauty type rituals. It's also about like putting in the right boundaries. It's also about taking care of yourself in terms of how you like orchestrate your days or how you dive. Okay, pile one. So, what was so interesting about your cards is that there's a running theme, right? Vacation, daydream, epiphany, wishful thinking, healing. It's like very in the mind, very up in the air, very in the clouds, very um in like a celestial dream type space, right? Very Neptunian. And it very much said to me that like this week is about you wanting to be somewhere else. Like you wondering about being somewhere else, you wanting to get away from where you are, you wanting to um figure out what it could be like if you were to leave, if you were to do something different, if you were to um want or dream bigger. You know what I mean? Like this energy is so fucking palpable. There was very little of any other kind of energy in these cards. It's very much um like I just want to like and not so much palpable like things are just happening in all cases and I just want to get away from here. In some cases, nothing is necessarily happening in that moment. It's just that like you're over being where you are, whether that's in the literal space that you are in, like the house you're in, the job you're in, the relationships you're in, or like it's the figurative place you're in, like the feelings that you have or like the energetic space you've been in. Like we are very much trying to we're thinking and daydreaming and wishing and hoping to get out of the spaces that we're in this week. We are very much, even if it's like just to take a literal vacation from it. Some people, you're daydreaming about getting away and like what it would feel like to be able to just go on vacation and take time and see something else. And like there are people that are thinking that big about life, you know what I mean, in terms of, like I said, literal situations that you're wondering like what would it look like if I actually changed this? What would it look like if I did jump out the box? What would it look like if I imagine this or that in my life for real, you know? And then, like I said, there are these other people. It's like these could be all things happening at once. You could have all three scenarios, or it could be like each of these things or two of these things or whatever. But like this shit is very, very strong, right? So, like, the third thing, like I said, is the figurative, the healing, right? The like daydreaming about how you heal yourself, daydreaming how you bring yourself to a certain alignment, daydreaming about how you get healthy and what that like and what that means to you, you know. So the energy of your week very much feels like it's almost like a walk-in vision board or like like a walking what's that when you, I guess, yeah, daydream would be the best word, but it's like there's a hopeful energy, even if the hope feels like it's out of desperation. Like you just very much want difference. So don't push that energy aside. Like sit in this energy, lean into this energy. Know what, wishful thinking looks like. Sit with the epiphanies that come up this week. What does healing look like? If you allow yourself to daydream about having more relaxed life or being able to get away or having more fun in whatever you're doing, what the fuck would that look like? Like really sit with it because it's coming up for a reason, because you're supposed to lean into this. Okay? Like that's the reason it's coming up. It's happening. So let's pull some cards about what specifically may be going on this week. So let's get into some more specific things that may happen this week. We are using I've had this deck for so long, yeah, the Psychic Tarot. It is an oracle deck. We have used this before, but like I said last time, I've been wanting to show y'all the decks because I'd be forgetting to put them in the description. But let's see what else we got going on this week. The cards are kind of popping out like that. Whoa. Okay. We had some things fall on the flow. Throat chakra reverse, patience and planning, sacral chakra, balance, and truth. Okay. Okay, so the energy of this week in terms of specifics, right? Specifically, it feels like number one, we need to be mindful of what we say, right? We may be in situations this week where we just like outburst some shit. This may have to do with the fact that you aren't sitting in your boundaries or taking care of yourself or nourishing yourself the way that you need to. And so then it like comes out in this way. Um, it feels like you may like lash there may be times when people lash out at people. There may be times when you say too much. Like the truth card comes into me, like you say something that you don't necessarily need to say to this person, or give information that you don't need to give, or like slip up, like you lied about something and then you slip up and say the shit um that you forgot that you lied about or something, you know what I mean? Like just be mindful of that. um be careful, like I said, with your words and in terms of like what you say, but also be mindful of what other people say this week. The balance, I keep looking at this, I guess it's like a wand here. um and like the thing I thought about it was like wielding your words. You know what I mean? Like words have power. Okay, words mean things. And so be mindful of the words that you use, but also be mindful of the words that other people use because they're saying things that aren't being said. Like there are things that are unspoken that are being spoken in a sense, right? Like literally, like I said before, where people let shit slip and or reading between the lines of what's said and what's not being said this week makes sense. Okay. Also, specific things in terms of this week, in terms of the throat chakra with the patience and planning card together, don't speak on all the things that you want to do in terms of the things that we were talking about before, where you're kind of daydreaming and wishing and trying to manifest. Don't speak those things too soon. Don't speak those things to the wrong people. Kind of like keep that to the vest. If you just need to speak it out loud, speak it out loud to yourself, right? Add it in as like an affirmation to yourself, right? And that also lends to the sacral chakra card, which will help you feel feel that the realness of it by saying it out loud to yourself and continuing to say it out loud to yourself. Feeling the comfort of what you're saying as if it is real, you know. That's part of the energy that comes up in terms of specifics. In terms of patience and planning, also like we had with the other cards, this is more of like a dreamy week. This week is not a lot about action, so don't necessarily think that something is going to come to fruition this week, or that you're going to be able to, in some cases, finish some things that you've been working on, or have like an ending or a resolution to some things. Like we have the patience and planning card, we have the scales being weighed, the balance, the other cards that were very like dreamy in the clouds. So it just doesn't give any concrete like energy, you know what I mean? And so in that sense, with things that you are waiting on or things that you're working on, just know that you're going to probably just keep toiling away at them or keep working on them this week. um or if you were waiting for like an answer on something, you probably are going to have to wait a little bit longer for that answer. Okay. Moving into the truth card. um the truth card, number one, I feel like has to do with what we were talking about in terms of the dreams and the wishful thinking and the epiphanies. It's like truth coming up in terms of what you want, truth coming up of you wanting to like leave certain spaces, truth coming up of you wanting to dream for bigger or wanting more, you wanting to plan for that, you having a deep seated feeling about wanting more. Um, the truth also to me though has to do with like literal truth, clarity, things being revealed to you, things coming up, right? And in our November collective reading, I talk a lot about truth this month, right? Firstly, we have Mercury in, I believe, Sagittarius in retrograde, right? Then we have it being Scorpio season. But on top of that, if you watch our, or excuse me, if you listen to our November reading and you look at the cards, we have a number of cards that talk about trickster energy and deception. And we break that all down and what that kind of looks like this month in the reading. And this coming out this week is no coincidence. You know what I mean? It lends to that energy because there are things that are coming to light. There are things that are coming to light, things that were done that are coming to light. And so be mindful of that this week. Sit in what's real to you, sit in your authentic self. Watch for other people's authentic self, like we talked about before, right? But also um, be mindful, like I said, of you know, little white lies or untruths or um, you know, things just not being exactly what they seem because it's it's being shown to you for a reason, okay? But also, like I said, the truth card has to do with you getting clarity around the things that you want and you just sitting in your authentic self this week, um and you just having to really like have these like aha or like these like, you know, this is what it is kind of moment, you know what I mean? So that also comes up this week. Also, the card you have on the bottom is fulfillment of wishes. Okay. So the this is just heavy to me in terms of the validation from the first part of the reading. This is a lot of what comes up this week. And a lot of the things that come up will like push you back to this. You know what I mean? So if it's like specific things that happen this week make you think, oh, either I want to get away, or you have an epiphany about, you know, the space or place or people that you're with, or you see something that makes you daydream about like what if I could have this or this or that, you know what I mean? Like this is just, it's so much of this energy of like being able to figure out what you want and to actually have it, you know. So sit into that this week, like really lean into that energy. So let's get your last cards, which are some words of wisdom. So this week's words of wisdom comes from the Divining Poets deck for Lucille Clifton, who's a poet. She was also a diviner and a spiritualist. Oh, okay. First card. Some rivers flow back toward the beginning. What I can promise to be is water, water plain and direct as Niagara. And I love that because we have the waterfall and our fulfillment of wishes card. And for me, especially this first card speaks to me about flowing back to the beginning, having to do with not being jaded, not sitting in realism, but literally flowing back into yourself and what you want and starting from there and moving from there, right? And then the fact that this is another water card. What I can promise to be is water. What I can promise to do is flow. What I can promise to be is non-malleable. You know what I mean? Or excuse me, is to be malleable. Sorry. Anyway, a water plain and direct as Niagara, right? And Niagara Falls is strong. The water rushes, it's continuous, it keeps going, you know? And so I feel like this is what I get from these two quotes from her poems. So this is your reading for the week, pile one. I hope that makes a lot of sense to you. Please let me know if it makes sense. Y'all gotta comment. Y'all gotta let me know. I know y'all watching. So please comment. Let me know what you think. Come back as the week goes on and come back and let me know how it is. If you would like your own reading, book with me on wildheartbotanica.com. I have a 75-minute reading. I have 2 email readings right now. Um, Subscribe on the Substack if you aren't already, so you can listen to our monthly reading. Definitely go listen to that if you haven't already. You can listen to it on Substack. You can listen to it on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. We also have our Tiny Musings playlist, which are our shuffled songs that go with our collective reading. Follow me on TikTok, on IG at Tiny Divinations. And if you have another pile, I will see you there. If not, thank you so much for reading with me. I'll see you in your next reading. Welcome in pile two to your week ahead reading. Let's get into your cards. So, the first card you have is the influencer. And this card is from the Roast Iconic Oracle. And when I pulled these cards, I asked what you needed to focus on the most this week. And to me, the influencer card is twofold, right? So, it's about how you influence and or how you're being influenced. Okay, so like paying attention to the things that you focus on, what drives you, also what you're intaking, right? So like what what is on your timeline, what you're watching, how that's affecting you, you know what I mean? Like there was this girl who did this like research project on TikTok. I feel like it was sometime last year. um yeah, I think it was last year. But anyway, she basically listened to certain genres of music or certain artists for a certain amount of time to see how it influenced her, how it influenced her thoughts or her movements and her actions and things like that. And it's giving that kind of energy to me. So, like, paying attention this week to what you are watching, what you are listening to, what you're intaking, and how that's influencing you in the other parts of your life that you don't necessarily think about being influenced by that. Um, and like I said, paying more attention to that, also the things that you're not intaking and how that affects your thoughts or your movements or your perspective. Okay, the other side of that, like I said, is there, it feels like for people, part of this week is paying attention to how you can move a room, how you can influence people, how what you say affects what happens or can make change, and whether that's like something that you use in a wise way or whether that's something you actually recognize and utilize, whether that's something that you want to have a bigger impact on, or you know, specifically use your voice and like make yourself bigger or have more of a larger presence around something. Okay, so like these are the ways that this card kind of shows up to me in terms of what you're supposed to focus on this week. So let's move into the energy of your week. So the first card you have is drowning. Over your head, overextended, rock bottom. Then we have harmony, balance, peace, happiness. Family, blood ties, inner circle. Archangel Michael, protection, prevented from harm, divine intervention. And then envy, resentful, competitive, discontent. Okay, so getting into the energy of your week, we have the drowning, overextended, over your head, rock bottom. So there are people that may be feeling like overwhelmed by emotions this week. You may be feeling overwhelmed by the things that you have to do. You may be feeling overwhelmed by the things that come up. You may find it hard to find peace or like balance this week. It may also be something where like your family is kind of pulling on you. And so that's part of the reason why you feel overextended, or you may literally just have like a lot to do or too much to do or like catch up to do, and you're just feeling kind of overwhelmed. I just want to pull and see specifically. uh okay, so part of the reason why you may be feeling like you're drowning is because you may be lacking something, you may not have something. You may be feeling like overwhelmed in bills because you don't have the money, or you may be somebody that's affected by the SNAP situation as of when I'm doing this reading. And you're worried about like how you're going to take care of yourself or how you're going to take care of your family because we have the family there, how we're going to have balance and be able to take care of all the things, you know what I mean? That may be part of why you're feeling this energy this week. I just want to say, you do have Archangel Michael here, protected, prevented from harm, divine intervention. Okay, so like even if you are in a situation where things feel like too much, whether it's because you have a lack of, or because you have too much to do, or because you just feel overwhelmed with life, you definitely have this celestial protection. You definitely have this safety net that's coming in to help you, right? Also, if you're in a situation where you're waiting for something, or you need something like miraculous to happen in a sense, if you're somebody that either works with your ancestors and or spirits, do do give some kind of offering, give some kind of reverence, and to in order to like get what you want kind of moving in a sense. um the other card that we have here in terms of the energy for your week is envy. And the thing that popped up with me with this card, which, like, yes, it could be the resentfulness, you could have competitive situations, but the discontent is what came up to me. And so there's this energy of people sometimes doing shit because you're bored, right? Moving out of boredom, or doing things because you're bored, or fucking with other people because you're bored, or like having bored be the basis of why you do something. Again, back to the influence of what we talked about, right? And so don't allow yourself to be influenced by your boredom this week. If you are discontent with something, then you need to figure out what the root of your discontentment is, or the root of your boredom with this thing is, or why you're no longer into it. Okay. Again, that's when we talked about before, about how the things around you, the things that you're doing, the things that you watch, things you're intaking are influencing you. Like, this is part of that, right? And like, if you're just bored with things that are around you, or you're bored with everything that you would normally do, then that's speaking to something, right? And that's coming up this week, and that energy is coming up because you need to change it, because it's time to kind of move more in balance and peace than where you actually have been. And not to say that you haven't been in peace, but that this part of that is no longer aligning with you for whatever reason. So there's some part of you that needs to think about your perspective and how you move and how you think about things. Okay. So this is part of the energy that I'm getting for you for this week. Let me move into some specific things that may happen. So for this part of the reading, we are using the Psychic Tarot. Let's get into some specific things that may happen this week. Okay. Move these. Okay. Okay. Interesting. I don't know why I just split the deck. I just wanted to, for some reason. This one's upside down, so I'm gonna put that back. Okay. So we have emotional was first, excuse me, mental conflict, emotional withdrawal, emotional loss, partnerships and alliances. We have hope. We have material and spiritual prosperity. Both of these are reversed. Then we have the base chakra, rest and rejuvenate, and wisdom. Okay. So for pile two, so what I'm thinking is that there's definitely it's definitely a heavy week emotionally for you, pile two. We have the mental conflict card, emotional withdrawal, and emotional loss, right? All of those things together say to me that like something is definitely on your mind. Something definitely happens this week that makes you feel like you need to step back, or that you need to rethink how you've been thinking, or that you need to like change your perspective, or like you're questioning yourself about what you've been doing, or how you've been doing it, or something like that. um the emotional loss card feels to me like almost like reminiscing on something that happened, like not necessarily that it happens this week. It feels like part of this is like something that either is already in motion happening, and it just feels like it like gets heavier on you this week, or it feels more tight to you this week, or it feels like you feel the weight of it. It feels like this week, whatever is happening, it feels like you feel the weight of it this week. And like I said, I don't necessarily feel like it's something new that has happened. It may be something new that has happened, but for some people it's not something that's new. It's just like either like the shit set in, or like it's the reality of what has happened, or something like that, right? We have the hope card and the spiritual, excuse me, the material and spiritual prosperity cards reversed, as well as this base chakra card, which deals with like security, foundations, the root. It's the root chakra, right? And so I definitely think that this has to do with your finances. I definitely think it either has to do with your finances, or like where you live, or your like how you make money, your work, or like I said, it could, you could definitely be somebody who is affected by the bullshit as government shutdown, and the pause on the SNAP benefits, or you could be somebody that's affected in some other way by the government shutdown. But it just feels like this is definitely financial, tangible base. This has to do with like what you make, what you bring in, what you have, um, what you own, like, very, like I said, root chakra type things. Okay. And I can see why you're scared. Like I can see why you're worried. You know what I mean? And within that, you have these other cards, the partnership and alliances card. You have the rest and rejuvenate. You have the wisdom, which has this big ass sun in the background, right? And then this book that's illuminated. So there's help. And before we had the Archangel Michael card. So whatever happens this week, you are protected, okay? You are protected from the worst things happening. You are protected from harm. You will be okay. I know even in this moment, if it doesn't seem like you will be okay, or you don't know how you're going to be okay, please believe me when I tell you you're going to be okay, okay? You are going to be okay. There's number one, help available for some people. This feels like pulling you up. Okay, so there's help, or there's ways in which you can collaborate with other people. Um, there also is this rest and rejuvenation card. So I feel like they wouldn't tell you that you can rest if you weren't being helped in the other realms, or if you weren't going to be guided by this wisdom that's coming, or um, that there's not something else available to you that you don't see, because you're just in a place of like fear, and having to just think that you have to do and nobody's going to come help you, and like you have to figure everything out, right? Part of how you're able to figure shit out is to take time and step back, okay, and to be able to really like just come into yourself and take a nap, so that you're um able to think more clearly, or able to move in better action, or even able to have more energy to do what you need to do in order to um make shit happen. You know what I mean? But also with this, I feel like part of the reason that you need to rest is because they're going to give you the answers. Is that shit is going to be given to you. You're going to be and have intuition, like intuits of wisdom, or you're going to be given signs, or like these just like lit up ass do this ass direction, okay, that you can't deny, right? And so part of you resting and rejuvenating is being able to see that, because if you're in your head, right, if you're just stuck in grief and mourning for what could have been, or fear of what's going to be, then you won't be able to see this, then you won't be able to recognize it when it's in front of you, and you may miss the help, or you may miss the win that you're meant to have, okay? Because again, whatever is happening, like it's not, you're protected. Whatever is happening, you will be okay. Whatever is happening, a way will be found. Like they're going to make a way for you. You wouldn't have gotten this card without, for no reason. You like this without that help, without that divine intervention. Call on your people, call on your angels, call on the spirits that you work with. Again, we talk about spirits and working specifically, not just spirituality, but working specifically with spirits specifically female adjacent spirits this month in the collective reading. So please, y'all, it's a lot going on this month. The energy of this month is a little crazy. Okay. So I implore y'all to listen to the November reading. Okay. Let's get your words of wisdom for this week. This week's words of wisdom come from Divining Poets. This is Lucille Clifton's edition. She was a poet, and all of the cards in the deck are quotes from her poems. What? So the cards we have are: I have learned to carry it the way a poor man learns to carry everything. Heart melting into never and no and yes and and. So with the first card, I feel like I have learned to carry it the way a poor man learns to carry everything is about us carrying the things that have happened, us carrying our grief and our mourning for the loss, whether that's literal loss or like the loss of things that we thought we were supposed to have or places we thought we were supposed to be, and carrying that around because it's a part of us. But part of what we are really supposed to carry and we're meant to carry is the overcoming of that, right? The way a poor man learns to carry everything because that's all he has, you know. And it's like I said, what has been is what makes us, right? But holding on to it in a way that um holding on to it in a way that it becomes a crutch, or holding on to it in a way that hinders you from moving forward, is not how we want to hold things. We don't want to have to hold them just because we feel like we have to, or just because um, they were there, right? Again, it's about the perspective of, and if you look at it as opposed to loss, or not gaining or having what you thought you were supposed to have, if you look at it as you were learning lessons and being placed in spaces that you were supposed to be in for you to recognize or realize what you were supposed to see, or for you to get to where you are now to have the revelations that you have, or to be able to have the strength that you have to know that this time you'll be able to do it differently, or to know that wherever you go, you know, from here, you have much more wisdom and skill and, um, you know, perseverance to make your way through. Okay. And I feel like that to me is part of what this card talks about. Okay. Then you have heart melting into never and no and yes and. And I just feel like this is us coming out of those spaces, right? Coming out of the space of loss, coming out of the space of fear and anxiety, and moving to a space of hope and believing and wanting more, and not even just wanting more, but like actually believing that things will be okay, and actually believing that and seeing that shit writes itself, and and then that leading to, again, the knowledge and the lessons, and you being able to recognize the perseverance and the ability to see things through, and you know, see it to the end, to the good that is inevitable and happening, in a sense, you know what I mean? Because it's always happening for a reason. There's always a lesson in it, but not holding on to it in the same way that you would have held on to it, or you have held on to it before. Okay. So let me know if that makes sense, y'all. I know that like they're a little abstract, you know, and also let me know what you get from it, because you could get something totally different. And I would love to hear your interpretations of the cards. So this is your reading pile too. Let me know how your week is. Let me know what's going on. Come back as the week goes on and like watch it again. Let me know how it's validated, what happens. If you'd like your own reading, book with me at wildheartbotanica.com. I have the live reading and 2 email options. We also have our Substack, our monthly collective reading. Like I said, y'all, please go listen to that. You can listen on Substack, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. We also have our fairy tale reading that will come up in the middle of the month. And follow me on all the socials on TikTok and IG at Tiny Divination. And if you're not already subscribed on the YouTube, hit that button. Okay. So thank y'all so much for watching. If you have another pile, I will see you there. If not, thank you again. I appreciate you. And I will see you in your next reading. Welcome in pile 3 to your week ahead reading. Let's get into your cards. So, the card that you have first is the Black Square, which comes from the Roast Iconic Oracle deck. When I pulled these cards, I asked what you need to focus on this week. And the energy of the Black Square talks about you needing to focus on where you're kind of phoning it in, where you're not maybe doing as much as you could, where you're not speaking your piece or saying, like standing your ground as much as you can, where you need to kind of do more, right? And so, um, there are ways in which we sometimes don't want to ruffle feathers, or we don't um, feel like it's important enough to express ourselves or to stand up and move in action with the way that we actually feel. But this is the time. Like, there's no other time than this time right now to like move in right action. And that means whatever is right for you, for real. I mean, we could get into things, but like, you know what I'm saying? This is your week ahead reading. And so that's what that means. And what you need to focus on are places and spaces where you could be either doing more, or you need to um, like walk it like you talk it. You know what I mean? Like that's what comes up for me. So let's get into your energy for the week. The cards we have are time, delay, procrastination, too busy. Masculine energy, authority, discipline, father figure. Boundaries, disrespectful, enough is enough, defend yourself. Establish, settle, secure, wealthy. Today, good vibes, now, in the moment. And then exhausted, burned out, burdened, empty. Okay, so part of what's interesting is that these cards, the time, the masculine energy, the boundaries, the exhausted, and even the today is giving this energy of like time's up. It's time, like time's up for people who are disrespecting you. Time is up for people who are pushing you past your boundaries. Time is up for you not asserting your authority or putting in boundaries. Like, you're over it, you're tired of it. Time is up. Like, that is part of the energy of this week. It's so real. Like, it's so real, right? And like, today is the day, right? Like, because you're ready, like good vibes now in the moment. You're ready to just um to move away from this shit. Like, you're ready to the energy of this week comes up and it feels like you're ready to just like again write it. I feel like I said that in one of the other piles. Like, you're ready to just write the course, and it's time, right? It's time, right? There's also ways in which we could take these individually, right? So there's things where you may have a lot going on, but it feels like the a lot that you have going on has to do with the boundaries that you put in place, right? So like, you may have a lot going on because you say yes to everything, or you may have a lot going on because you're helping other people or doing too much and not focusing on your shit. You know what I mean? There may be a delay, or somebody may be stalling your shit, especially because you have the authority figure next to it. So somebody may be stalling you from doing something, or somebody may be stopping you from doing something, and you're at the point where you're just ready to assert yourself. It's like, enough is enough. You know, you're ready to put in your power or stand up for yourself in the ways that you're able to, right? And this, again, because it's the male energy, masculine energy, authority, father figure, it could be somebody that has some kind of pull over you or power over you. It could be a literal father figure, like an actual family figure. It could be somebody who's um, approval, or who's who you want to please, or who you have wanted to please, or who you've wanted to see you, or like approve of the things you do, like I said. But that at this point you're just tired of this shit, right? And then the established, to me, even though it says settled, secure, wealthy, there are people that may have situations where you have money come to you, or you have windfalls, or you have something that makes you more secure this week. But it just feels like to me also that the established with this has to do with you establishing yourself. Like it's time for you to stand up for yourself. It's time for you to like settle into yourself and who you are, and say what you need to say and do what you need to do in these situations where you aren't either putting in your boundaries, or your boundaries are being disrespected, or people are like abusing their power or something like that, right? And again, the basis of this to me comes to the today card, the good vibes now in the moment, right? Because again, this person is like at a party, she's lighting a cigarette or a joint or something, like she's like having a good time, you know. She's in her element, you know. And it feels like the reasoning for all these things happening is so that we can get back into ourselves, or that we can move into feeling like like it feels like my shoulders go down and I get to breathe, and I'm like feeling cool and relaxed, and like, you know, less tense and angry and pent up and burnt out, right? So this is part of the energy that comes up for this week. It's very interesting energy. And like it may play out big or small, but it just it this is just what it is. Like I don't know how else this is just very much how it came up. So yeah, please let me know if this makes sense to y'all, like how this shows up for y'all. Comment, I would love to know. Let's move into some of the specific things that may happen this week, which may also give us more insight into the energy of the week. So, the specific things that may happen this week come from the Psychic Tarot. As you can see, I've had this deck for a long time. Okay. Transformation, which I feel like we just kind of talked about. It's time for you to stand up. Oh, okay. Okay, so we have the transformation, the sacrifice, and solitude cards on the first line, and then fertility, hope, and base chakra. So, specific things that may happen this week. We already talked about the transformation. There are things that may happen this week that are going to force you to kind of move in ways or be in ways that are pushing you to, like I said, establish your boundaries, or sit more in who you are, or stand up in your authentic self. This is part of what we talk about in the November collective reading in terms of like moving in good character and moral for yourself. And so, if you haven't listened to that already, definitely go listen to that reading. Um, there's sacrifice that happens. So, when we put in our boundaries, right? When we have to speak up for ourselves, or when we have to stand up to people in power, there is a level of sacrifice there, because you don't necessarily know if what you're saying is going to be received, or if there's going to be backlash from what you're doing, especially, like I said, if you're standing up to authority or asserting boundaries, right? People don't always like when you put in your own boundaries, even if they're what you feel like is for your own good. You know what I mean? Like they may not see it that way. And so there's a certain level of sacrifice that has to happen for you to be able to do this. And it's like this, in some cases it's like a leap. Just, you know, you have to take a leap on yourself and who you are, and how you want to be seen, and you know what you really feel. And you know that's more important to you in a sense, and it has to be more important to you than what they feel or how they're going to react to what you're saying. Okay. In some cases this transformation and the things that happen this week specifically will lead you to feel like you need to go in and like be by yourself, or have to like be in a meditative place, or think, or like kind of be away from people, so that you can figure out what the transformation looks like, or what the sacrifice looks like, right? Or what has to happen. Okay. You also have this fertility card. So like there's this birth energy of being able to transform, and this being a very fruitful time for you to be able to transform your identity or like stand more in who you are. But also the fertility card makes me feel like with the established card, there are people that may like get random checks or random money that comes to you, or like um something that happens this week where it's like an opportunity for you to have more, like a second job, or you get a call back, or you have like you talk to somebody about an idea or something like that that could make you money, or something like that happens this week. Like it definitely feels like you may have like something happen where you get money or something tangible, or you get to birth something, you know what I mean, that has to deal with um material, you know. You also have the base chakra here, so like I said, there also could be, it could be that you don't necessarily get the thing in hand right now, but that like you see that it's coming, or you see that it's real, or you see that something that you're thinking about or wanting to start or have been starting and want um like results from is going to have results. Like you can see the light in that, right? And again, it's because we have the base chakra, it's something dealing with like your foundations, your security, what makes you feel safe, your like what you have, um your possessions, like you know your what you can hold in value, things like that. So it definitely feels like to me like it's a thing, or maybe you get like a gift or something in the random sense. But like this is some of the specific things that happen this week. Like I said, with the sacrifice, there are ways in which we will see, you know, either putting in boundaries or standing up for ourselves in certain ways that like some people don't have the same the right reaction, or some people do like kind of recoil or have like a negative response to that, you know what I mean. And again, this is you moving in right action with you, and having this week force you to kind of like look at yourself. And so it's more about you, and if they can't see you or accept you for who you are, who you're transforming into being, then that's okay. And maybe right now, again, like I said, you need to sit more with yourself and like be your friend in a sense, so that you can like really establish your connection with yourself, and then almost go back out and make sure that your friends align with who you are now, if that makes sense. Or the people, not just friends, but like the people around you, or the, you know, um the spaces that you're in. Okay, especially like I said, if they are like, and this masculine energy does not have to just mean, you know, um people who are male adjacent. Like this can be anyone who is someone who is has some kind of like power or authority over you, or even has like a bigger personality, or is like more demanding or dominant, you know what I mean. So that's something to think about. These are some of the specific things that come up. Let's get your words of wisdom for the week. The other thing I want to point out before we move to the words of wisdom is that there's like this person in the middle of the hope card, and almost, I don't know if you can see that, but there's like these people all around, right? And so it's giving support, but it's also, to me, it felt like almost like different versions of us, and moving like almost to our higher selves or our higher versions. And like that's, this week is kind of moving you there or doing that in a sense, right? So I just wanted to point that out. Let's move to your words of wisdom. For the words of wisdom, the deck we're using is Divining Poets. This is Lucille Clifton's edition. All of the cards have quotes from her poems on them. Okay. It is the light in us. It is the light in us. And then to be the mad woman at the river's edge. So starting with it's the light in us. like I said, even with this hope card still sitting out here, I feel like right now it really is a time of transformation in terms of you moving and standing up for yourself, like you like standing your ground, you setting your intentions, you putting in your boundaries, and that is your power. Okay, that is your light. It's the light in you, it's the light in you, that's what's coming out. That's why it's coming out, because you're meant to shine in your own specific ways, and in the ways that you're being tamped down, or that you're um not being heard or seen, or you're not sitting in your own authority or power, or divine masculine energy, in a sense, you're not letting your light shine. And so that's part of why this energy comes up this week, um, for you to sit in this light energy, for you to sit in your power, for you to have these creative things happen, for you to have these bursts of monetary gain. You know what I mean? Because it is your divine light. It's meant for you to show it and be seen, and for you to own it, and that's part of what I get from this card. To be the mad woman at the river's edge. Now, this may have a specific reference. We don't have the whole poem. I will look and see if I can find the whole poem that this is referencing. But to me, to be the mad woman at the river's edge is like a precipice moment. You know what I mean? Like something's gonna happen. I don't know if she's gonna jump in. I don't know if she's about to off somebody. Like I don't know. But it's a precipice moment in the sense that like it's a moment right before something happens. You know what I mean? And again, you have this hope and this fertility and this transformation energy, and this time is up for you to me moving how you have been moving, in a sense. And so it is a precipice moment for you. This week is a moment of like what's about to happen, or how do we go from here, like what's the next action, and like kind of sitting in this like pregnant pause and really like aligning with what happens next with who we are. If we align with ourselves, then what happens next we'll kind of know. But it's going to look different if we're sitting in our authority, or if we're sitting in our power, if we're setting in our boundaries, our rules and regulations and limitations, and knowing our yeses and our nos. You know what I mean? And so that's part of what I get from the mad woman at the river's edge. So this is what I'm getting from these words of wisdom. Please let me know if they make sense. This is your reading for the week, pile three. Let me know if that makes sense. Okay. I know it was a lot kind of going on, but it definitely was like a lot of information. I feel like you'll see as this week plays out what it means. So let me know how the week treats you. If you would like your own reading, book with me at wildheartbotanica.com. We have a live reading and 2 email offerings. If you aren't already following on uh, Substack, follow me on Substack or Apple Podcasts or Spotify to get our monthly reading. That November reading is out right now. It is so good. If you have not listened to it, I need y'all to listen to it. There are a lot of things happening this month. There is truth coming out. There's consequences. There is spirits and all kinds of stuff. So I need y'all to go listen to that reading. Okay. If you haven't already, follow me here on YouTube. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Tiny Divinations. And thank y'all again so much for reading with me. I appreciate y'all so much. And if you have another pile, I will see you there. If not, I will see you in your next reading.